Hello farm enthusiasts, welcome to FarmFiesta again. Today we'll be talking to Mama Nochezol, the agronomist, and we are going to be discussing about farm scouting. Farm scouting is all about identifying the pests all around your farm and even identifying all the potential hazards that could be around your farm. So like as you can see, we are in the field of the maize. When you have the maize plantation as a farmer, you need to walk around your farm and wander around to see whether there are some potential hazards or some potential pests that could affect the yield of your crops. When doctor is always waiting to the hospital to treat his human patients, the farmer should always be on the field on the lookout of the potential hazards and the pests that could reduce his yield to a potential significance. So as a farmer, you need to be well aware of what is happening to your farm, and one way to do it is only in farm scouting. It has to be on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, as long as it is a followed schedule that could help you to boost your potential yield and minimize the potential hazards and the pests on the field. Scouting is not only about the pests and the diseases or the insects. You can even check about your systems, your production system. For example, like the irrigation system. In this field, we use the drip lines as a primary source of irrigation. So when you get to your farm on a daily basis, you have to check your drip lines, if whether they are functioning properly, if they are releasing water at an optimum level that you want them to be releasing water at. And not only that, then you can proceed to check your plants as a farmer, because you invested a large amount in inputs, in seeds, in fertilizers, and even in pesticides. So you might want to check your crops to see whether they are growing at an optimum level that you wanted them to be growing to, checking for the diseases, checking for the pests, to see if whether you need to control the pests and the diseases. Not only about that, but also even the weeds. The weeds are other potential things that could minimize the farmer's yield at a significant level. So they need to be also controlled at the same level, the same way you are controlling those pests and diseases. As you see in our maize plantations, there are some weeds. There are some weeds, even though they are not significant or too many to cause a harm for the plants, but they are present. So you need to check them as well. As you can see in this field, they are not much weeds, of course, because there is a way that we use to control them naturally. We use the mulching, the process called mulching, where we just leave the crop residues in the field. These are the crop residues of the crops that we planted within this field. So we leave them in there so that they can cover up the soil, so that the weeds wouldn't emerge and compete with our crops that we are growing for next season. Okay, now let's go to the aspect of farm pests and diseases. So in our maize plantation, currently we are facing an issue of the fall armyworms. As you can see currently on this plant, there are some windows on the leaves of this maize crop. These are caused by the fall armyworms. As you can see, the insect pest that is really common in the maize plantations, and as you can see, it is causing a significant harm. Even though it's not a very significant harm that you can't control, at this stage you are able to control it. But a little delay in controlling it might cause an easy spread within the whole field of your plantation and could damage your significant yield and could cause a potential loss of your capital that you invested. So that's where farm scouting comes in. It helps you to identify pests and diseases and even weeds and even farming system that could help you to increase your yield or minimize your yield, and see the potential hazard or see the potential harms beforehand, so that you can control them and carry on, so that you can maintain your good yield and make your capital yield more profits. In the farm, not all harms on the crops are caused by pests or diseases. Some might even be caused by the nutrition status within the soil. Maybe the soil doesn't have enough organic matter, maybe the soil doesn't have enough moisture in it, maybe the soil doesn't have enough nutrients in it, so that might even cause harm to the plants or the crops in the field. Like for instance here, let's go to this crop. This crop is showing signs of lack of phosphorus. As you can see, the purple coloration in the maize crop and in other general crops. This indicates the low phosphorus low of the phosphorus content within the soils, and this might affect the yield of your crops. And when you identify this thing, what you need to do is applying fertilizers or applying other nutritional content to the soil that might offer phosphorus to the plants. That's one way to control it. And also, depending on the season, depending on where you are, your crops can experience wilting, all the scorching of the leaves. That can majorly, many farmers confuse it with the insects or the disease or the pests, but majorly is due to the low moisture content, due to the low water content within the soil, and that affects the crop because it can't get enough water for the transpiration and for the plant physiological action and biochemical action, so it tends to wilt and it tends to have the scorched leaves. Another effect of the soil health to your plantations is also the water content within the soil. The water content can affect your crop in one way or another, because water, as it affects humans, it affects plant in the same way as it is needed for the physiological and biochemical activities within the plants. So in order for them to grow well, they need sufficient water. As you can see in our field, there is no signs of lack of water, like wilting of the leaves or scorching of the leaves. Our plants seem healthy because we have an irrigation schedule that supports them, that gives them enough and sufficient water for biochemical processes and even for transpiration processes of the plant that are really natural for them. So our field generally looks healthy as we try to control each and every aspect when it comes to plant nutrients, when it comes to water content within the soil, when it comes to the organic matter, when it comes to pests and diseases. We try to control them, and you control them when you do the farm scouting, because you can't identify the threat when you haven't already seen it or identified it or observed it as a farmer. So in our field, we identified some potential hazards like weeds, like the fall armyworms, and even the lack of the phosphorus content in the soils. So what we shall do next is to try to control them so that it won't affect our yield. As we identify them at the early stages, for now they can't cause a significant harm to our crops, but when we let them be, they can cause some significant harm on our yields, because when you let something go on in your field for a long time, it spreads like wildfire. So what we are going to do now, we are going to control the weeds. We can either apply herbicides, and as also we mentioned, we saw the fall armyworms within our field and they are insect pests. We can apply insecticides, and if they had other significant effects, we try even to find a way to control them, because they spread very easily within the field, and also identified the low phosphorus content within our soils. So we shall fertilize our soils in fertilizers that are rich in phosphorus content, all other source of nutrients that could offer the phosphorus content that is sufficient in our field to control those aspects. This was Mawano, the agronomist from FarmFiesta. Thank you for watching this video, and please like and subscribe for this channel, FarmFiesta, and see you next time. Ciao ciao.